What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Journey Podcast. We have a very special guest today. We have a very dope setup. Appreciate our boy Yassine for holding it down. How we feeling, cuz?
I'm feeling great, man. Absolute pleasure you being here. Really means a fucking lot.
Appreciate
you know,
it,
we
man.
got our fucking guy Umar Ashraf coming in from
appreciate
fucking
it, man.
Dubai. One day maybe we'll put a little claps in there. You know what I'm
I was
saying?
gonna say you guys should come down to Dubai soon.
That would be
That'd be
insane.
do like a whole run down there, get a bunch of people.
You know what's funny? We had an opportunity to go to Dubai. We did a podcast with like this online like growth consulting marketing guy, Nick Cosman. He just so happened to he was gonna fly us out first class, like Emirates.
Private jet,
you know what I'm saying?
jet,
Oh, it was
yeah.
private jet.
Oh shit.
Yeah. He was like, what are you guys doing Monday? And we were like,
I don't have a passport.
Oh man, not to split it up, huh? Damn.
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely want to talk about Dubai, you know, a little bit about our podcast. I know we were speaking about it before. Our podcast is mainly about personal development. So we're definitely going to get into the trading.
Sure.
But for our normal fans and followers, I'm sure, bro, there's a lot about you that maybe people don't know about. You know, a lot of characteristics that make you as successful as you are, bro. Because you know, I'm new at this business game. I'm kind of, I would say, 3 years into following my dreams. Before that, I was playing a college sport. From what I know about you, you're 9+ years in day trading, and you've been all around the world, right? So you're a little further along than me, but this game's not easy, bro.
Yeah, bro. It's hard.
Yeah.
I think any game you get into is hard. It's just longevity. How do you stay alive in any game you play?
Right.
And one thing I've kind of learned along the way is as long as you stay alive over a long period of time in any game you play and you do a good job in showing up consistently, after a certain period, you will start winning. Right. Be it year 5, be it year 7, be it year 12. But as long as you stay the course, I've seen so many people, you know, go on a path, let's say podcasting. They'll start, quit in 6 months, quit in a year. But imagine you go at it for 10 years, nonstop, right? And you do a good job, obviously. In that time period, you will obviously come out on top.
Yeah.
So where did you, like, what instilled that mentality in you to be able to do that? Because like you said, a lot of people start things and they quit when like shit goes south or it doesn't happen in the first 90 days. So what happened, you know, bring us back to your childhood. What was maybe a determining thing in your life that happened to bring that mentality out of you to like, I'm not going to quit ever?
So I think ever since I was young, I always wanted to, I don't want to say necessarily win, but I wanted to kind of be different from what everyone else is doing, right? So if I saw someone going, I guess, doing something one way, I would look at it and say, okay, how can I do this different? How can I do it better, right? So I pay attention to a lot of things people do, right? Even if, let's say, I want to get into the podcast space, I'll see what you guys are doing, what your setup is, and start paying attention to that. And I'll start gravitating or grabbing as much information as I can. And once I get that kind of ideology, now it's like, okay, how do I set myself up for success? How long will it take, right? Also, when you go back in history and you look at other people, you start realizing like no one does anything in 1 year. No one achieves success in 2 years, right? It takes a really long time. So when you look at like the really successful people, you're like, okay, it does take time. What was their journey like? What did they go along the lines of the journey? So now once I start taking those things, it's like, okay, I want to, for example, in my situation, I want to be a trader. I know it's not going to happen in 1 year. I know it's not going to happen in 2 years. So I got to stay the course for as long as I can and give myself a fair shot. So when I started and I was like 18, I was like, hey, I'm going to give this a solid 5 years. Like you go to college, it takes 4 years, right? So why am I going to give trading 1 year? Why am I going to give it 2 years? Let me give it 4 or 5 years and let me give it real 4 or 5 years. Not nonsense, not, hey, I do it for 1 month, I take 2 months off. I do it for 3 months and I take a year off. No, nonstop consistency for a long period of time. And I think that mindset just allowed me to like stay the course, keep my head down and just, you know, stay locked in. And I always say, look at where you'll be at 25 if you're 18. Look at where you'll be at 40 if you're 30 and so on. When you look at like 10-year, 5-year difference, you start seeing you can accomplish so much more in a longer time period than you can in like a shorter time period.
Right. Yeah. So I'm going to play a little devil's advocate because I know most 18-year-olds want it overnight.
Of course. Yeah, I did. At that point, I did, by the way. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to wait, of course. But there was like that backseat part of me that's like, hey, it's going to take time. But then there was another part that was like, all right, like I got to do it in 6 months. And initially I did lose a lot of money because I was trying to rush the process. So I did go through that little area of like, oh shit, I gotta flip the way I'm going about this.
Yeah. See, that's the thing with trading is like if we lose, I mean, theoretically the stakes are kind of high now because we're starting to interview big guests. Like let's say that camera is not on, like that's why I checked it before. Fucking make sure, you know. So theoretically there are some stakes, you know, but initially when starting out, you know, if we scrap an episode, it's no big deal. You could lose money with trading.
Of course.
You're trading real physical dollars.
See, the thing with trading is immediate. Right. So it's like if you make a mistake right now with something, the result isn't immediate and it's not financial right away. Right. With trading, if you make a mistake, depending on your size, depending on, you know, how much money you put in, 5K, 10K, 15K is, you know, down the drain. So the immediate aspect and then the immediate reaction you get is what causes people to go on tilt. Right. So it's like imagine you do something right now and that you get an immediate negative response. You know, that will cause you to have a reaction. Right. But whatever you do now in other industries takes time. Right, real estate, if you lose money, it'll take 6 months, 5 months, or whatever the case is. In trading, it's seconds or minutes. Yeah. And that reaction, people don't know how to deal with because they don't have a good understanding of themselves. Right, that's where like you hear trading is a lot of psychology. It's a lot about you knowing yourself, knowing how you respond, knowing how you how you react to things and things along the lines of that.
Right.
Did you play Call of Duty when you were younger?
Yeah, I did. Modern Warfare 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what everyone played until like 5 a.m.
Where are we going with this one, bro?
So they said, I saw like a study almost, and they said people that played Call of Duty and that were like good at it, their success in the video games transferred to trading because they were able to make like crazy decisions with no emotion. So, you know what I'm saying? You're playing Call of Duty, you're playing Team Deathmatch. You just go, if you die, you die. But you go in there with no emotion. So how do you think that mentality, obviously the stakes are a lot higher trading with your money, but how did you build that, you know, idea of throwing away the emotions? Because I know as a trader, you kind of have to get rid of the emotions, right?
You see, that's the thing. We as humans, we can't get rid of our emotions. It's not possible. Like if we were to get rid of our emotions, we can't survive, right? Our emotions play like an internal part of us as human beings, right? When you go back to thousands and thousands of years, we need emotions to, you know, operate on a day-to-day basis. So we can't turn it off and on. What we can do is learn how to manage them and learn how to deal with them in certain situations, knowing how would you respond when you're mad. Like if you take two people, some people, they get mad, they're reactive. They want to hurt someone, they want to fight, they want to punch something. Some people, they get mad, they can think about it, they can cool down and kind of, you know, think, hey, what's the next step? So it comes down to how do you take your emotions and how do you kind of use it in the right way, right? And that was one thing. Initially, I was like, I need to eliminate my emotions. I need to become numb. And you start realizing like we as humans can't do that. It's impossible, right? So it's just how do I control myself? How do I develop things like impatience, right? How do I develop ways where I get angry? How do I control that, right? And now if you're in front of a computer and you get angry, you start putting on sides, you start taking stupid trades. Like that's not gonna work. But if you get angry, you're like, okay, I'm angry. Why am I angry? Okay, let's start working it out. Let's start fixing it, opposed to just, you know, going out of control. Yeah.
So my question to you is, you know, I'm a fairly young cat, and I've been thinking about
how old are you?
25.
Oh wow. Okay.
You know, so I've been thinking about ways to make money, because money for us honestly has been a little bit of a pain point, you know, because we're in the content space, and obviously there's not really much of a, I mean, there is a lane there, but you have to be really big. So so I've thought about everything, you know, all the lanes, high ticket sales, SMMA, obviously day trading. And day trading is very sexy, right? Of
course, yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, my boy was trading options. I saw this one thing go up like 2,000%. So I was like, bro, I'm not a math guy, you know, but like, let's talk about the insanity of the number. It was like, if I have 10,000 here and it goes up 2,000%, I don't know what that number is. Let's say $1 million, whatever it is, you know? So I'm just saying there's an insane, like, it's almost like lustful. I'm like, whoa, like this is insane. Now that was my initial reaction. And then after being in Miami and meeting a lot of day traders, and it seemed to me like just no one was profitable, or, you know, or they were making more money from selling courses than actually trading. So my question to you is like, what in the world made you pick trading?
So I picked trading. I remember I was 18. I went on Forbes.com and I looked at the wealthiest people in the world, right? And the top 2 or 3 people were hedge fund managers, right? It's not essentially trading, but it has a lot to do with the stock market.
Right.
So I was like, oh, what's a hedge fund manager? Oh, I can't be a hedge fund manager, but I can trade the markets.
Right.
So that's initially what got me involved in the markets, right? I was like, okay, I want to be involved in the world of trading somehow, one way or another.
Right.
And just the concept of being able to make money from your computer and being able to have like an endless opportunity amount, right? Fascinated me. Hey, I can, instead of making 100, I can make 1,000. Instead of making 1,000, I can make 10,000. The more money I put in, the better I am, the more money I can make.
Right.
So that's what ultimately fascinated me. And also when I started trading, I think it was like 2012 or 2013, it wasn't as popular as it is now, right? Maybe on like the underground level, but also social media wasn't as big. Also, you didn't have so many social media traders. So it wasn't like I went on social media, I saw these Lambos and cars and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, let me get into trading. It was more so like, hey, what can I do to make a lot of money? And when I looked online in Forbes, hedge fund managers and making 400 million a year, 500 million a year, I was like, holy shit, this is what I want to do. Yeah. so yeah, no, it's insane. So that's what initially kind of got me into it, right? Just the money. That's as an 18-year-old, 17-year-old high school kid.
Wow.
That's, you get driven by that.
But why does everyone suck at it? Like, you know
what it is? I think two reasons people suck at it is, number one, I think people try to cut corners, right? That's number one. Like if you go to someone that's like, hey, I've been day trading for 2 years or 3 years, ask them, okay, let me see your data. Let me see your records. Let me see what you've been trading. Let me ask you, what is your edge? Let me ask you, when does your edge work? Let me ask you, what market conditions does your edge work in? Like you start asking them these real questions about their trading, they don't have answers because they wake up, they put on a trade, they make money, they lose money, they go on about their day. And they do that for 2-3 years, right? So they don't take it serious. So taking it serious, in my idea, is you having like a real process, like, because trading is a business, right? So as a business, you want to treat it like a business. You want to track your trades, you want to track your records, you want to see what's doing well, what's not doing well. You want to have like a defined process. Most traders don't have that. They'll wake up and say, this guy's trading gold today, I'm going to go trade gold. This guy's trading Forex, I'm going to trade Forex. This guy's trading crypto. They start following new things because they're in the rush of making money. That's number one. Number two, I think a lot of people don't have a good understanding about themselves, right? Who they are, how they operate, how they think, how they process, what emotions ticks them off, what doesn't, things like that. And trading is something that it will expose you of all your flaws, especially your emotional flaws, everything. Like I remember one of my friends from high school, he's like really calm. And he used to be like, oh, I'm calm. Trading isn't going to bother me. I was like, no, I promise you, once you trade, it's going to showcase everything. He started trading, getting angry, getting upset. All these things started coming out. And I was like, see, it's not the idea of losing money. It's the idea that you're wrong immediately. Imagine you go and you do something. It's like wrong. Wow. That starts playing a big mental impact on you. And that throws you all over the place. So those are the two components that I think that people have a hard time grasping. And that's why they're like not really going to do well.
So how do you stay composed? Like, are you like a ninja or something?
No,
I have,
see, I have days, right? I have days when I go on tilt. Like I go on like a massive like downfall, right? So those days don't happen as much now as they did early on in my career. But now it's more like if I have that day, I know how to deal with it. I know how to kind of like mentally take care of myself, mentally get myself out of that rut, right? So it does happen. But also like the way I approach the market now is a lot different, right? So it's like, hey, if I go and put on a trade tomorrow, I already know before I take the trade what I'm risking. I already know like, hey, if I take this trade and I'm wrong, I lose 3 grand or I'll lose 30 grand depending on the trade, right? So it allows me to like mentally go on about my day or about my trades a lot better than when I did early on. Early on, it was like, if I take a trade, I can't be wrong. I have to make money. Oh, I'm going to make 10 grand. You start taking the calculator out and you start making everything coming out. You're like, oh, if I take this trade, I'll make 10,000. If I sell here, I'll make 20. And next thing you know, you start losing money and you're on a complete downfall.
Yeah.
So what are those things that do keep you mentally sane?
So
Personally.
one thing that's really helped me, honestly, is meditation's helped me a lot. Right, meditating for 15, 20 minutes a day. I think meditation is key. I think every person should meditate. I think going to the gym has been like a big thing for me. Taking care of my sleep, right? And these things come from experience because I remember from like 18 to like 20, I neglected this, right? I neglected my sleep. Right, I would be like, oh, I would stay up until 4 a.m., wake up, pop a Red Bull, start my day. And I would say, I'll be okay. right? But those things start, messing with you. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't getting any physical activity. Once again, not enough sleep, not proper sleep. So these things obviously impact your ability to make choices, right? Your ability to think, your ability to kind of regulate your emotions. So all of these things obviously start playing a role in anything you do, especially if it's mental. Anything you do that's mental, it will start playing a role. So for me, those things played a key role.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and Jake and I, we do the Deepak Chopra 21-day guided meditation.
Oh, nice.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
Yeah,
bro.
wow.
Like,
Yeah, it gets you
whenever,
so right.
Yeah, whenever we're in like a rut or we're just feeling like mentally drained, we just dive into a meditation, and then we do the gym every day too. So it's like we've found like a sequence in a lot of the successful people we do interview and have on the podcast. All of them kind of have this same similar thing, like meditate, gym, doing all these things to get your mental right. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people throw that stuff away, their physical health
Yeah.
and their mental health, and then they wonder why like everything in their personal life is like fucked up a lot.
I see that happen a lot with like younger kids nowadays, right? And I did that too, right? Like I was saying, 18 to like 20, not sleeping until 4 a.m., waking up at 7, popping a Red Bull, Monster energy drink, going on about my day. And I just wasn't effective, right? And it just doesn't make sense. And you think you're hustling, like, we come in this hustle culture. It's like work. And it's like, no, you can't do that. Like you have to work effective and smart opposed to working, 15 hours a day and not being productive. Right. So if you take care of your health, you take care of these things, especially your mind, you will be able to be more effective and make better choices opposed to just working 15 hours and not being productive at all,
Yeah. So I want to rewind. I want to go back to the beginning.
Sure.
So you are a day trader now. You're 18 years old.
Sure.
Are you profitable your first year?
No.
Okay.
No, of course
And what
not.
are you trading?
So when I first started, I think my first trade, it's probably down on my Instagram page. I traded JCPenney.
Okay.
That was like my
So you're
first
trading
trade.
the stock market?
Yeah, stock market.
Not
yeah.
Forex?
No, I'm not in Forex. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
stock market. Just
Yeah.
to make it, because we had Storms on. He was
Forex.
We had a big Forex guy on. But so, okay, so stock
just
market, just
stocks,
so the
yeah,
viewers
yeah.
know.
Options or?
When I started, it was just stocks.
Okay.
Yeah. Options I got in like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Okay.
But it was just stocks. Yeah. I was 18. I had 20 grand saved up, right? And a lot of people probably watching like, oh, how did an 18-year-old have 20 grand saved up? Like, if that's the first concern people have living in like a first world country, I'm sorry, that's a stupid concern, right? It's so many ways to make money. Like I don't mean to say like this. If you take everything away, I can go into a complete new industry and go make 10 grand a month right now. And I don't want to sound like that. It's not difficult, especially today. Back then it was a little bit more difficult, but today with so many opportunities, so many different marketplaces, you learn one skill set, you become okay at it. Right? You get a few clients, you know, whatever the case may be, you can make 10, 15 grand a month.
Can you give me that blueprint?
I got you.
Give that to me. No, I'm not saying like off camera.
Okay.
No, I want the blueprint. No, I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying it like for the viewers,
Sure.
We have a lot of
Young, hungry dudes that are trying to figure it out and they don't know what the fuck to do.
And like 10 to 15 grand a month is like essentially kind of fucking
That's
freedom.
a lot of money.
That's like freedom for them.
Yeah, of course.
For us too, you know what I'm saying? Like real shit. It is.
So you have to, one thing is you have to first find out what it is you want to do, right? So on top of my head, things like putting day trading aside, right? Day trading is great, but I think unless you have the capital or the funding and whatever the case is, it's really difficult, right? Wow. Just my opinion, right? And I'm just being honest about that. Even though I'm in the market and whatnot, you need to have money, you need to have a cushion. But I think if you're starting out, let's say you go into the SEO route. Just to give you an example, what is SEO? Writing articles. You go in from writing articles about a certain topic you're good at, right? Let's just say you know some things about the fitness industry. Maybe you know things about some supplements, whatever the case is, right? Once you understand that, you start writing articles, you get into SEO. Once you understand SEO, now maybe you know how to rank companies higher in SEOs. There's people that pay companies 10, 20, 30 grand a month to rank on SEO, to write articles, to get backlinks and all this other stuff, right? Let's say that's one route. Another route could be, let's say, an agency. Where you make an agency on a service or something you're good at. Another thing could be marketing. You know how to do social media marketing, maybe on TikTok. There's a lot of people that are 18, 19 that are doing TikTok marketing and they're making a killing off that, right? But it's the first thing is how do you, let's say you pick something, right? How do you get your foot in the door in that market? How do you learn as much as you can? Maybe you go intern for someone that you learn for free, whatever the case is, and you get some sort of knowledge. And the first year, it's like, hey, I'm not looking to make any money. I just want to get knowledge. I just want to learn as much as possible. Once you get that first year out the window in that certain industry, the next year it's, hey, okay, now time to get clients, time to get customers, time to make a little bit of money. Once you make a little bit of money, you see that momentum roll in, things are just gonna fly in. That's just how I see it.
So what was that moment for you? Like was it after year one? Was it?
It was, so trading wise, I didn't really start making money until like 20-ish, like year two and a half, right? But I also didn't take trading serious the first year, right? What I mean by that is I started when I was 18. I have an early birthday in January, so I was 18 in high school. The 20 grand I had saved up, just to give context, I was selling iPhones at the time. So at the time, you get iPhones, you fix screens, people selling for 150, 200 bucks. Now that market's dead, by the way. You fix a screen for 50 bucks, you go make 100, 200 bucks. So I'd go on Craigslist one day and I would buy like 30, 40 iPhones. Like I would locate different people, have a day, just go and start buying them. Once I buy them, I would set a date, just start fixing them, organizing them, and then I would list them and have someone go sell them. So me doing that, I would make a couple of thousand on every flip, because I would do it in bucks, and I would just start saving up money. So I had that capital and I was like, okay, I have 20,000. Me being, an idiot at that time, put it into the market. Once I put it into the market, obviously my first trade went well. So obviously when you go in, you get like the gambler's luck. Yeah, beginner's luck or whatever it's called. My 20,000, I forgot what it went to. Eventually my account was like 30 or 35 grand, right? Once it went to a solid amount, I was like, all right, this is doing great. And next thing you know, that summer, my $35,000 account was at 2,000, right? And when I went back to it, I'm also like a realist, right? So when things don't work out, I can take accountability, which is something a lot of young kids nowadays have a hard time with. I was like, listen, I didn't give this a fair shot. I didn't learn. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just threw money at the market, expecting to make money, and I lost money. Yeah. So I have no one to blame but myself. Yeah. Now, the one thing that at that time that did keep me going, I will say this, was a lot of people that were like, oh, I told you it's not going to work. Only the rich do well in the markets. No one can really make money in the market. That's kind of what kept me going. And that was where I was like, okay, I need to take this serious. I need to like put my head down and really figure this out. And I think the next 2 years, I just kind of burned through money over and over again, working jobs, working different things, and just kept focusing on the market. And kind of year two and a half, I had my aha moment.
Right. Wow. Yeah. And then what did it feel like when you had were you like, they were like, yeah, like, let's go?
It's not really... So it's like with trading, it's really interesting because you do good for a little bit and then you do bad. Right. You do good and then bad. So it's like the good period started becoming longer, the bad period started becoming shorter. So it's like you never really have that quick aha moment in trading, right? Yeah. It just, as time goes on, you're like, okay, like, wow, like I'm making money. Oh, wow. Okay, let's make sure I didn't lose this money. Okay, I lost a little bit of money. Okay, let's make sure I didn't do this. Right. So it's just, there's never an aha moment. It's just the time period starts extending of you making money to losing money, right? That's really about it.
Yeah, it's exactly what we were talking about. Like I played college basketball, and like the most important thing in basketball is like the runs, right? Yeah. Like teams go on runs, 10, 12, 14 point run, and then a team shuts the run down. So that's what it is. Like life is a game of runs. So I'm sure in the market, like you said, it's a game of runs. And then sometimes, like once you got to the point where you were comfortable and confident in what you were doing, your runs were a little bit longer, and then the bad runs were a little bit shorter.
Yeah, it's the same thing in business, right? You have great runs, you have great seasons, and once you have those great seasons, maximize them and then prepare for the bad ones, right? Because the bad ones are going to come. Same thing in trading. You have great trading days, you have great trading opportunities, maximize them as much as you can. And when the market is flat and the market gives you no setups, just stay cash. Just say, I'm going to relax. I'm not going to force my hand. I'm not going to try to make money. I'm not going to try to put on trades and make stupid choices just because I feel like I need to.
Right.
Wow. Right.
So I just wanted to ask, so like going like that, like your biggest run. So like, what would you say your biggest profit was, say in a day, and then maybe for the year?
In the beginning or now?
Now.
My biggest profit was 2021, 7.5 million. I know people are going to watch and be like, oh, he's lying and blah, blah, blah. But if you go on my Instagram, I have a video, right, of me logging into my account, TD Ameritrade. Like, it's not like with Forex, just by the way, there's a lot of unregulated brokers, right? So people own their own brokers in Forex and they can showcase what they're making. Yeah. In the stock market, you can't do that because all the brokers are regulated, right? I have a video of me logging into my account, showcasing the profit. Right. So
you said 17.5 million?
No, 7.5. 7.5. Yeah, 7.5. Yeah. Right. 7.5. And like I said, I have a video of just people that are not familiar with me, just logging in and showing that. Wow. Yeah.
Now explain that. Was that how many hours? What was the turnover on that 7.5?
I don't know how many hours, but I will tell you this much about that year. That year, about 6 million of it, or about 5.5 million, all came after August.
Wow.
In about 4 or 5 months.
Like
Yeah.
fourth quarter.
About fourth
Like
and a little bit of third.
three
Yeah.
into the fourth,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had my big month in August. People that follow me probably know Firm. I traded a Firm, made about $1 million in the Firm at the time. And then that momentum kicked in, and then just kept riding out that momentum over and over again. I was comfortable with the size I was putting out, risking 40, 50 grand a trade. It wasn't like I was risking $200-300, right? The risk was there. And that momentum just, kept riding out until December of that year.
Yeah. So
what was your biggest profit in a day?
In a day, probably I think 300, probably 3 something.
Wow.
Amazon. Yeah. Probably it was Amazon or SPY, one of those.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like what? So like you're obviously very successful. How old are you?
28.
28.
Yeah.
Okay. Very handsome.
I appreciate
Now what? So like what? What? This guy's balling over here. I'm fucking around. It's a fucking joke. Yo. So all right. So what? Like again, you're very successful. What like? What? Why are you doing all this?
Okay, so there's 2 reasons, right? When I go into this podcast stuff and like the content that I've recently started doing. So this.
No, I'm not saying content.
Okay,
I'm saying why are you like? How did you like want to shoot for the stars? Where does that come from?
So the question, I'm going to flip it to you. What is the stars to you?
I would say so. Like
Freedom.
Yeah,
well,
but where's that freedom? Like you know what I mean?
Time freedom.
But everyone has a different number. Like when you go to it on a financial point, everyone has a different number. Like $7.5 million from one aspect is great, but now $7.5 million in a different world is not great, right? But it's also not about the money. It's also about for me, it's more so like how do you keep pushing your own boundaries, right? Like $7.5 million is a lot because that's what you're believed to think it's a lot because of the environment you're in. Right. But now if you leave this environment, you go in some parts of the world, like in Dubai, I think they just had an auction for a plate for, I think, 11 million for a fucking plate.
What do you mean a plate?
A license plate.
A license?
Number 7 license plate it was like 11 million. Right.
Wow.
So it's like when you're in a certain environment, like, yes, 7.5 million or 10 million sounds like a lot of money. But when you go in other parts of the world, there's people doing that a month, people doing that a week. Wow. Right, on different calibers. But it's not just about the money. It's about how do you push your boundaries, right? So I look at business where money keeps score, right? In business, we don't get trophies, awards, and things like that, right? It's not sports, it's not basketball, or any of that, right? So now if you are a businessman making 100 million, obviously you're a way better businessman opposed to the guy making $1 million. Right. So that's essentially your trophy. That's essentially your reward. Yeah. It's also pushing the boundaries. So it goes into like, there's never really like an end point. It just keep pushing until you realize what your boundaries are, and you never know until you keep pushing.
Wow.
Yeah. So is there a point where like you don't like, because obviously you're deep in now. So is there a point where you just say like, all right, I've made X amount of money, I can just relax now?
Do you have a number?
Yeah. Like, is there a number where you don't think you'll ever have to trade again or work again a day in your life?
So I have slowed down trading a little bit, right? I'm focused on like my software company and things like that.
Which we want to get into.
Yeah. So it's like now I'm in a position to work on passion projects, right? Things I'm passionate about. Like, you hear people talking about it. Oh, I want to do something I'm passionate about. I'm like, yeah, well, doing stuff you're passionate about is a luxury, right? Like you need to go and make money and do the hard work first so you can put yourself in a position to do it. You can't just wake up one day out of bed and say, oh, I want to go work on my passion project. I don't want to do this because it's not something I'm passionate about, but I'm sorry, you need to do it right now, right? So it's working on things I'm passionate about, working on things that, make me happy, things that keep me active. In terms of what number would I retire at, I don't really think I would ever really retire, right? Like, it's also, I think, when you enjoy what you do, your day-to-day is just fun, right? It's just like you have this level of freedom, you're building, you're doing stuff that you enjoy. You never look for, oh, I need a break. And also if you quote unquote need a break, just step away, take a vacation, whatever the case is, and then come back. It's just like sports, right? Sports is all competition, right? Or are you going to say, oh, I scored 40 points a game, I'm good. No, you're gonna go for more, right? Yeah. There's a level of competition. Oh, we're 72-10. Okay, next year let's go for 84, whatever you can. Go for a better record. Yeah. You won 3 championships. Why not win 6? Right. It's the same concept. It's just competing at a different game. But how do you compete and consistently compete at a higher and higher level? Right. And with money, if 7.5 million, 10 million, how do you get out of that and go to 20, 30 million? Wow. How do you go into the 100 million? How do you go into the billion? Yeah. Right. Like, how do you keep competing at different points?
Yeah. Did you ever have a moment when maybe it was early on where you kind of had like a "we made it" moment? Night at the club, maybe, or what? Was there ever something, a purchase or?
I think maybe at like 24, right? It wasn't like I made it. It was like 23 or 24. I went through like a weird moment in my time, like a weird depression, right? Because from 18 till 23, 6 years, I chased money, just purely money. How can I make more money? How can I make more money? How can I make more money? At 23, I got to a point of making like a couple of $100,000 a month consistently, right? For months and months and months. And then as like a 23, 24-year-old, when you're making that type of money, you go, okay, like, what's next?
Yeah.
Right? Because I was chasing money so much that what's next put me in a funk. You wake up and you're like, okay, like, now what do I do? Right? You make another extra 100, 200 grand or $1 million. It doesn't really change much, right? Because you're chasing money so much. And I also say, like, after a certain number, your life doesn't really improve much, right? Everyone has a different number. Let's say if someone makes 100 grand a month, like, yeah, you can buy bigger planes and enjoy more vacations and whatnot, but like the improvement of your life is very minimal, right? Because at the end of the day, you have a ton of freedom and you have a ton of luxuries, right? So you do hit a wall of like, what's next? So I did hit that. That put me in like a weird rut. And just because I didn't have sort of a purpose, understanding of who I am, it was just head down, trying to make money. And I think at 23 to 24, that depression period, was in a way a very good thing I went through, because it made me learn more about myself, made me learn about what I want, what I don't want, what I am passionate about, what does make me happy, what doesn't make me happy. And I always thought it was money, which, money's a great add-on, but it's not what makes me happy. It's building, competing, things like that really, really drive me.
Well, what was the thing that got you out of that depression? Was there like a
book,
a defining moment, a book, a person, a mentor?
There was a lot of self-reflection. I got into religion. I'm Muslim at that time. Prior to that, I wasn't like into religion at all. Right. Cool. Got more into religion, more into understanding my why, more into understanding like, hey, why am I here? What am I good at? What can I do? What value can I offer to the world? Things like that. I also I was born in Pakistan, by the way, just a little background. Oh. So I'm lucky to be in America, right? So when I go back to Pakistan, the part I'm from in Pakistan is like a really, really poor part, right? So when I go back to it, I'm like, wow, I'm so grateful that my parents were able to bring me here, because if not, I would have been in a situation where I have no opportunities, nothing to get out of, but I'm in a situation where I can keep growing and have endless opportunities, which is why I don't take this for granted, right? So that perspective kind of helped. Just a lot of self-reflection, right? Yeah. Reading different books, watching videos, getting a good understanding, journal a lot, right?
Can I ask you to share your why? I know it's like a corny thing everyone says, but like.
So I think there's multiple whys, right? One why that I'm really passionate about is I want to educate and help a lot of people back in Pakistan, right? I actually started working on a project this year. I'm probably going to announce soon. We're building schools, right, back in Pakistan, helping people in like unfortunate environments and situations to really have kind of a shot at life. Right. So I don't want to really say that's my why, but that's something that drives me. Right. Because I think I'm in a position where I can make money. I can, move the needle forward, and those kids are not. So for me, it's like, hey, why not keep pushing, take that and kind of help them. Yeah. Right. So I would say that's a why. Another why would, I guess, just be to keep pushing my boundaries, keep pushing, my limits. But my main why would probably be that. Yeah. Wow.
Wow, that's
like I said, it could change. It could change as time goes on, but I genuinely enjoy that. And that's one thing that I kind of realized at 23, 24. Like, hey, I want to help people.
Yeah, I think that's the fun of living this lifestyle, like this like entrepreneurial lifestyle, again, like as the short time that I've been in it, it's just, it's taken me like, I constantly feel like I'm progressing in something, you know, versus like I have friends, you know, that just graduated just graduated college. You see the soul getting sucked out of people, you know, because people are like legitimately settling for everything, job, woman, place they live in, even like their spare time. Like they think that, you know, they come home, they're so tired from work, they can't work on a side hustle, they don't want to go to the gym. It's I would say it's an alarming amount of people, maybe 95% of people are you know, doing that. So it's just seems to me like it's a no-brainer to live this type of lifestyle, because it's like I think the purpose of life and the way to live a meaningful life is to have a purpose. Yeah. You know, we talk about it. We talk about it all the time. Like, I think people overcomplicate their purpose.
Of course.
Like, I have a friend that's, you know, beautiful woman. And I was like, hey, you should model. And she's like, oh, well, I'm just pretty. And I'm like, well, what else do you need to do?
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, I'm like, you know, or like for us, like we have a like I love to talk. Okay. Podcast, you know, or talk show or something like that, you know, like, do you think you had any skills like coming up that made you like a more successful entrepreneur?
I think early on I didn't know those skills, but just to add on to what you're saying, I think Jay-Z said it recently in an interview or a while ago. He was saying we're all given a certain skill set or ability from God, and our job is to fulfill that ability. And everyone has a different ability, different skill set, and our job as humans on this earth is to fulfill that to its full potential, right? So, and everyone has a different one, right? And it's identifying what that is, and you know, if you go deeper into your purpose and deeper into your why, it'll help you navigate that. And if you do, you know, it'll help you out a lot.
And it's just weird how people like, there's so much people at the top that like a Jay-Z, like that's a beautiful message. You know what I'm saying? That's a very inspirational message. It's like, but people wouldn't listen to that, but they would listen to their teacher that's like, oh, you're not that intelligent, or like you're going to be a garbage man. Like those are the people that, you know, that I guess
it's a lot easier to listen to that. Cause like I saw like Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers head coach, talking about that. He was like, it's not always what you're capable of, but it's your will to do what you want to do. Like how willing are you to put the extra work and put the time in? I think that's what separates people. And that's what separates people from their purpose and chasing something like worthwhile is like, maybe they don't have the drive or the will to actually do it. They don't.
And nothing pisses me off more when I speak to some people and they're like, oh, I want to be rich, I want to be that. And they don't have the work ethic for it. I'm like, you don't have the work ethic for it? They're like, yeah, I do. I was like, okay, name me 3 things you hate. I hate waking up in the morning. I hate going to the gym. I was like, okay, how about this? Every day at 5 a.m., go for a run. Nah, that's hard. Exactly. Wire your brain to do the hard stuff, right? And once you wire your brain to do the hard stuff, everything becomes easy, right? Start going in for the pain and say, well, you know what? These are things I hate. I'm going to go and I'm going to do them. Right, you start stepping out of your comfort zone. You start stepping out of an environment that's kind of locked you in. So find those things for people that are in like a weird stage. Find the things you hate. Let's say you hate waking up in the morning. Go for a run. 5 in the morning every day. I'm going to wake up at 5. Go for a run. Right, be it 2 miles, be it 1 mile, whatever it is. Just go for a run. Right, and just find those things, and slowly and surely you start building this momentum and confidence. Like, okay, I can do this. I can take care of this. I can do that, and you just start building massive momentum.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, this was a question we got asked from one of our followers. We're really not in the position to answer it, but you clearly are. He asked, you know, how do your friends treat you? Like the friends that you grew up with, if you still do have them like in your circle, like was there a difference between how they treated you now to how you are, you know what I'm saying, back then to now? With the difference in money, like he was like, you know, do your friends, how do you treat friends leeching off of you, or like what is that like of like knowing who's genuinely for you and who's not, because a lot of people start to come around when you start touching money. So how have you handled that?
Oh, so yeah, it's true. A lot of people do start coming around when you obviously touch money and things like that, because everyone wants something, right? The way I've learned to look at it is, if you have elevated to a certain level, and it doesn't have to be just financially, it could be just you yourself, people in your life have to match up to that. And it doesn't have to be financial. Like, let's just say I make a certain amount. If people in my life don't make the same amount, doesn't mean I'm cutting them off, but are you working towards it, right? Because now I also don't want people in my life that are not bringing a certain energy and that's going to drain me. Like, I don't want to suck out of myself and give to them. Now, if they're bringing a certain energy and they are showing up and they are working towards whatever it is, that's cool. But now if they're coming up and they're not offering any sort of value, any sort of, benefit, any sort of, and it doesn't just have to be from a benefit point of view, but any sort of energy exchange, that's people you have to cut off, right? So I've learned that a little bit later on, but yeah, people do come around, people do want handouts, and the worst thing you can do for anyone, especially if you love them and care for them, give them a handout. Yeah. You can create an opportunity for them, but make them work for it. But if you just give it to them, some people also expect it. Yeah. Oh, you make X amount, you should show me, right? Like I've had people from high school that I went to high school with. Hey, can you do one-on-ones with me? I'm like, bro, people offer me X amount. I don't do one-on-ones. You think I'm going to sit down with you and do a one-on-one?
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
and
just because we went to high school.
Yeah, just because we went to high school. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's not and they're like, oh, look, he changed. No, I worked hard to be at this point. I'm not going to stop every second and say, oh, let me help you. Let me bring you along. No, put in the work. Right? Put in everything and show me like, hey, I put in the work. I've done X, Y, and Z. If you have some questions, I'll help you out with that. But I'm not going to sit down and do one-on-ones with you and do all this stuff. And people expect that.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like you start to notice that a lot. Like when you start a business, a lot of the time your friends are the first people that ask you for a discount.
Yeah.
I don't. There's people out there willing to pay full price because of your value and because of the time that you sacrifice and the pain you put in over the years to build to this point. And then the people closest to you that you came up with are like, can I get a discount?
And I say, if you have a friend that asks you for a discount or asks for something for free on whatever business you are, he's not a real friend. Right? Like for me personally, like any person around me that has a business or a service, I've never taken a discount and I paid full price. Even when they offered it to me, I went on their website, whatever, I paid for it. Wow. Just because I understand the work and time it takes for you to build that. Yeah. So I'm not going to give it to you for free or expect it for free, right? So if you are a real friend, say, hey, I bought it, right? It's different if someone can't afford it. The majority of people spending it on clubs, spending it on stupid clothes and stuff like that, but they can't spend it on your business, right? So at that point, it's like, hey, you're not a real friend. Yeah.
I know you mentioned that you're Muslim.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're allowed to answer this, but I just figured, hey, it could be
Go ahead.
be a good clip. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
How has money impacted your dating life? Like, is it hard for you to date? Like, do you feel like obviously there is such a thing as a gold digger, and like,
I mean, yeah, gold diggers is a real thing, but I think there's a fine line of gold diggers, right? I think people love to throw that label around, right, in a bad way. So I have a different perception of it, right? So let's say we talk about females, right? For men, what's the main attractive thing? Money, right? So for a woman, it's the body, the way they look, and so on, right? So now, would you date a girl you're not attracted to?
No.
Probably not, right? Now, I can say, well, you're a terrible person because all you care about is looks, right? Now, for girls, every woman wants to be taken care of, right? In my opinion, every woman wants to be taken care of. It's not like, so a woman, it's different if it's like, hey, I love you, I'm with you because you have money or whatnot. And then once you lose money, I'm like, I don't want to be with you anymore. I think it's different. Yes, the money aspect, I think in majority of cases makes life easier for women because of course, as a man, it's your job to take care of them, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So it's not really a gold digger if that's a plus. But if that's all they're looking at, then it comes out as a gold digger. So it's just like two components I have, like two buckets.
So you just have to personally be like a good judge of character.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you have money, of course, like,
yeah, you're gonna attract
it's the same thing.
Of course they're gonna,
if you're a beautiful girl, of course guys are gonna approach you. Like you can't be like, oh my God, why is every guy approaching me? Of course, like that's just the nature of the game.
Why are women approaching me because of my money?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like what?
I'm not gonna complain about such things.
Right? It's always the guys, like what I've seen guys that don't have money. Oh, she's only with him for money. Right. Okay, well, like, why are you complaining? Go get some money. Like, that's it. Like, I'm not saying it.
Gentlemen, we just cracked the code, boys.
Right? So
what are we doing?
So I think it comes down to that. It's not just about the money aspect. Of course, like a lot of women like want that. It's a plus. Yes. Only if it's a plus. But if it's like that's the main thing, and as a guy you're smart enough to realize that, you got to pick up on that.
Right.
I wanted to ask
Dubai lifestyle?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That was exactly right. We think alike, you know?
Come on, cousin.
I wanted to ask you, like, why Dubai? You know what I'm saying? You're a Staten Island dude from New York, the grit, the grind of New York City, and now you're living in Dubai. Why Dubai?
Well, he's a Pakistani guy.
Moved
to
to-
town.
yeah,
grew
yeah,
up
yeah.
in
Got the
Sanaa
grit,
now,
you know
right?
what I'm saying?
When did you move? What age did you move?
To Dubai?
Yeah, no. What age did you move to?
I think I was 5 or 6.
Okay, so
Five,
you were
six, yeah,
5
yeah, I
or
was
6.
young.
So
yeah,
his
yeah.
majority of his
I'm
childhood.
just fucking around.
Yeah, yeah.
No. I'm just trying to give context. New York guy.
Yeah.
Why Dubai?
A lot of reasons. So a little backstory: from 25 till now, I've spent a year and a half to a year in Miami. I spent probably 8 months in California, and then I've spent majority of my time in New York. Right. A little bit of it was I want a new change. Right. I think you're young, you're able to travel, move around, go to different places. That's number one. And I enjoy living in Dubai. Like I've traveled there multiple times, stayed for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, and so on. And every time I went, I was like, I love it here. That's number one. Number two, safe, clean. I think environment, lifestyle, everything is like the best over there. Number three, opening up a trading floor. And it was like, hey, what makes the most sense in terms of legal aspect, taxes, like also from a tax point, it makes a lot of sense. So all those things kind of combined together. And it was like, hey, I think Dubai's the move for a little bit. And it's not a lifetime move. I think when people see you making a move, it's like, oh, he shifted to Dubai. For me, mentally, I plan to live there and spend the majority of my time for the next 2 to 3 years. And then also see kind of if I enjoy it, if I don't enjoy it. And also like the shit you see going on here, bro, it's scary. You know, like the way America's going, the way things are going, it's just kind of scary, you know? It's over there, everything's safe. People reserve tables with their phones. You've probably seen it on TikTok and stuff like that. So it's safe, nice, clean, cool environment. Taxis plays a big role. Yeah. So combination of everything, and I just couldn't say no.
And what is the like the weather like there like year round? Is it consistent?
Yeah, so that's the problem, right? So until June, I'd say a little bit of May, but June to like August, September, it's hot, like super hot. I've never spent June till August there. From
Like what is hot? Like
100 plus.
Yeah.
100, 110.
Wow.
Like it's hot.
Dry heat, right?
Dry heat,
Yeah.
right? So it's not the most favorable place to be during those times, right? But if you're in Dubai, 3 months, go out to Europe, spend time in Europe. That's really about it. But also my thing is also if you're moving to Dubai, you're living around there, you have to be making good money to be comfortable, right? Yeah. Where you can get on a plane in 2 weeks and say, I'm going to leave for 2 months and book this place and whatever the case is, right? But yeah, that's the only thing. Year round, good weather. That's what I will say. Yeah.
Would you say Dubai has been your favorite place? Because like, have you traveled the world?
Not the
For
world.
the most, like Europe.
I've traveled like Europe.
Would you say
like
Dubai has been your favorite?
Living wise, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I think living wise, yeah. It's becoming a big financial hub. You know, work wise, it's great. Like I said, safety, all those things, everything just makes sense there, right? And you see a lot of people moving there. A lot of big people, a lot of people making some serious money, or all making moves to Dubai, right? And there's a reason for that. There's multiple reasons for that. Yeah. And have you been there yet, or have you?
Never.
See, yeah, come
we
make a trip.
Go.
Make a trip. Come down there. You'll see what I'm talking about. There's the best of everything, right? You have like, if you know, some people have a perception of Dubai like there's no nightlife. There's a massive nightlife in Dubai, like massive, right? Some people may say there's too much of a nightlife. You can shift away from it, right? So there's a balance of everything. It just depends on what do you want, and you'll get from there, right?
And is there really, so like I've heard this, it's kind of crazy for me to wrap my head around. Are there, I don't know if you asked this while I was gone, but are there no taxes in Dubai?
Yeah, that's
you're
there's no
talking about the
taxes.
legal aspect,
That's why a lot of people from Europe, because for people in Europe, it's a lot easier, right, than if you are a U.S. citizen. But no taxes, zero.
Wow. So if you make
X amount, yeah,
$1 million, you take home $1 million.
Take home $1 million, yeah, which is insane.
How long do you have to live there to get that?
For non-U.S. citizens, about 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. For us, it's more complicated, right? It's not as simple as just living there and you don't have to pay taxes. There's more complications and more legal structures that need to be set up and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But for people that moved from Europe and other parts of the world, no taxes at all, which is great. But I do think in the future, they are going to slowly start increasing taxes, right? Yeah, it's just a way to kind of suck people in and kind of flip it.
Yeah. So what do you think, like, do you miss anything about the States while you're in Dubai? Do you get homesick?
Honestly, no. I mean, I've tried to get my parents to live there. I've tried to move them out there. They said no. But honestly, no, nothing. Yeah. For me, I would stay year long over there if I could. Wow. Yeah, just the weather in the summer gets hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you a car guy?
I was a car guy, but I remember, I don't know who I was talking to about this today. I was talking to someone about this. I was a car guy. I still like cars, but they're a lot of work, right? Like a lot of work taking care of them. It's also, you're also burning a stupid amounts of money, right? But it's like, if you have it and you don't care, sure, go for it. But it's just taking care of them is a headache. They break down a lot, especially like supercars.
Right.
I did have some nice cars in the past, but at that time I was traveling so much, right? One car would be here, another car would be here, another car would be there,
Right.
where I would come back to, let's say, my place in Cali, and my car's dead because I forgot to put on the charger.
Fuck.
So you didn't turn it on for 3 weeks and it's dead.
Yeah.
So you got to call Lambo and say, hey, can you come? They got to come jacket or whatever the case is. So it just became a nightmare at one point, right?
Cool.
And then the service is bad on them. So
Yeah. All right, so I want to segue into your new thing, Tradezilla.
Yeah.
That's what it's called?
Tradezilla, yeah.
So I don't know anything about it. What is it?
So Tradezilla is basically a journaling platform, an analytic platform for traders, right? So like I was saying before, a lot of traders, they enter the market without understanding that it's a business, right? They don't track their trades. They don't focus on their metrics. So it's like, imagine starting a business, right? And not knowing your business expenses, not knowing your business overhead, not knowing your income, what's coming in, what's going out, all that good stuff, right? Not knowing what areas of your business you make the most on, what areas of the business you're losing money in. Imagine doing that.
Right.
Sounds stupid, right?
Yeah.
But 90% of traders do that. They go open an account, put on trades, lose the money, open on another account, lose money, and keep doing it, right? You ask them, hey, how long you been trading for? 2 years. I'm like, you haven't been trading for 2 years. You've been gambling for 2 years, right? That's essentially what it is. So the idea of Tradezilla is just kind of, forcing traders to journal their trades, track their trades, treat it like a business, right? It's a software where you can input your data. It breaks it down for you, gives you feedback, tells you what you need to work on, what you don't need to work on. You can journal, just get all your data in one place. That's what it ultimately is.
How did you come up with the idea?
So my main thing that helped me as a trader was journaling, right? Like everything in my life, I journal a lot, by the way, even in my personal life, right? So if I ever feel stuck, I'll go on my notes app, just start typing. Just keep writing. Come back to it, keep writing. And sometimes when you talk to yourself and you keep writing, you start kind of answering your own questions. It's like, when you have a conversation with your friend and you're just talking and you're like, aha, I got it. They're like, wait, what? You're like, nope, I just needed to let it out. I got it. So it's like when you journal, or when I journal myself, I start figuring things out. So journaling has been like a huge element in my life from like 17, 16. I used to journal everything, right? In trading, I started journaling too. I was like, hey, I do it in my whole life. Let me start journaling. So I have notebooks probably still at home where I used to write everything down, right? What stock I got in, where I got in, where I got out, what's my thought process, how am I feeling? And I started learning so much about myself, like something very small. Like I remember on Mondays, I used to lose money. Right. And over 2-3 months, I was like, why do I keep losing money on Mondays? Like, what is it about Mondays?
Right.
So when I started digging deeper into Mondays, I started realizing it was because the weekend would happen. I would get so like amped up for Monday. Like, I can't wait to trade. Market would open. I would rush to put on a trade.
Yeah.
The moment I put on a trade, lose money on it, put on another trade, lose money. And now the next 2-3 days, I'm like digging myself out of a hole.
Yeah.
And that pattern would keep happening over and over again until I journaled, I paid attention, and then I kind of created a plan for myself. Hey, how do I avoid that? All right, on Mondays, the first 30 minutes, no trades. And the second trade I do take it with less size, right? And that slowly started helping me. Then that goes deeper into other trades, goes into other setups, goes into so much more. So I think in 2019, beginning of 2019, I was like, hey, I think I should create my own platform. And there's platforms out there that exist, but in my opinion, they suck. Right? They're built by developers, not really user-friendly, don't really offer real value in my opinion. So I was like, hey, let me create my own. But I have no background experience in software. Right, like nothing. And I was like, nah, I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. And you get that first instant where your mind goes in defense mode, right? Because our brains are wired like that. The moment you do something that's scary, did that stop? You good?
That's the bullshit angle.
Okay.
Fuck that camera.
I was saying, so I was like, it's the moment you try to do something scary, your brain goes, don't do it, right? So I was like, hey, are you sure you want to do it? I was like, no, and I kept sleeping on it. So a lot of times if I sleep on something and it keeps popping up in my head, I look at it as like a sign from the universe, if you want to call it. I got to do it. I have to do it. And I went ahead, I did it. I threw a lot of money at it at first because I was like, oh, I'll throw money at it, it'll solve the problem. And obviously that didn't happen. I learned a lot of lessons the first year. I blew probably like 200 to 300 grand, just like down the drain with like a terrible development team. Wow. Because I was like, oh, I'm going to put money on it, they'll fix it, right?
Yep.
And that didn't happen, obviously, the first year. And then I took kind of like a 6-8 month pause. I doubled down and I thought about it. I was like, do I want to keep doing this in a field that I'm not an expert in, that I have no knowledge in at all? Or do I just like say, screw it, right? And I had a lot of self-reflection. And that's where like when you go deeper within yourself, it's very important. Because I was like, wait, no, I want to push my boundaries. I want to do stuff that is out of the norm, right? No one wakes up knowing everything. Right, like you see Jay-Z being a billionaire, and he identified so many new things and so on. He didn't know that from the beginning. Right. He learned as he went. Right, in all his new business ventures and things like that, he learned as he went. So I was like, hey, it's gonna take me time. The only way I'm gonna get to the point I want to get to is by pushing my boundaries. So I have to figure this out because this is smaller. In 5-10 years, it's gonna get bigger. The problems and situations are gonna get bigger. Yeah. So I have to mentally wire my brain to be able to tackle these problems. So I said, you know, fuck it. Figure it out, whatever it is. You have tolerance, you have the resources, go for it. Yeah. So just, you know, from there, just kept building and built a pretty strong tool, right?
So what's your like your vision for Tradezilla, and what impact do you think it's going to have on the future of traders?
Sure. So my vision is to get, you know, the ultimate mission is to impact retail traders, to help retail traders become profitable. How do we help retail traders become profitable? By giving them a tool that allows them to analyze their data in the best possible way, right? And, you know, month over month, the amount of money we're spending on development is insane, right? And the reason for that is because we're trying to make the tool better and better, you know, every month after month, right? And just trying to get as many traders on at a point and offering them real valuable help. Right? Not just, hey, we built the tool, let's sell it, let's make money. No, let's actually build a good tool and make sure that traders that use it, they develop good habits and they're able to become profitable within those habits and systems that we offer them.
Awesome. Yeah. And how are you marketing it?
Right now, it's all organic.
Yeah.
All organic. I don't want to share the numbers here, but like even valuation wise, the numbers we've gotten, because by the way, it's all family owned right now. It's me and my 2 sisters, by the way. We're building it. Wow. Everything is 100% family owned. We have no outside investors. I've gotten approached with like some like crazy numbers, and I'm head down. Just keep building. Really? Just keep building. Yeah, and some of the numbers are insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because I heard that it's all the courses buy it. It's something that like a lot of people, like just everyone's buying this thing. At least that was my inside scoop that I got.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. It's because it's not. See, in the course space, you're selling education, right? Like it's hard to gauge that, but when you build like a tool, like a real valuable tool, a tool that you need, people will buy it, right? And if it's a good tool, it's a good product, it markets itself. Like right now, we've spent $0 in marketing, like not a single dollar. Everything's organic. Just growing, having a ripple effect through customers, through people using it and so on. And we haven't even like pressed the button of growth. We're doing that this quarter. Like this quarter, we're tapping into growth going into next quarter.
Wow. Yeah. Shout out to you. I'm happy for you, bro.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's like outside looking in, it's just cool shit.
I appreciate it. I will tell you this. There are countless times I've wanted to quit. Like I want to stop the project because I was like, oh shit, I can't do it. Right. And that goes like, that's just for everyone else. Like if you are doing something and you feel that, you just have to understand like our mind is designed to avoid danger. The moment our mind feels danger, it's going to want to run. Our job is to first analyze the danger, analyze the risk. Obviously don't be stupid and just be like, I'm going to jump into danger. No, analyze the risk and say, okay, how do I, mitigate this risk? How do I mitigate it? And how do I see, does it have potential? Should I call it quits or can I actually manage this? Right. And if you give yourself that time and give yourself some time, don't do it overnight. Don't be, reactive. If you give yourself a week, 2 weeks, think about it, sleep on it, journal, write it out, lay it out, whatever the case is, you will realize how creative you can be to kind of find a solution.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing, bro. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
No, whatever you guys want to talk about. Up to you guys. Go. Yeah.
All right. Let's go. I mean, that was beautiful. We hit so many different things on the head. But while we have you here, might as well keep ripping it. What, I guess, like, we kind of hit on that. I had so much questions that we just smoked, you know. We just got it in.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wanted to kind of dive maybe a little more into you, like, personally, because
Sure.
I think to do the things that you're doing, like, to this level, and like it's super impressive, right? Like
it.
we've been around some successful people, and like all you guys share the same characteristics, the same like personal traits.
Yeah.
So what is something like you would relay to like the 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid outside of like not quitting, right? Because I know we touched on that, but like, what is something do you think that separates you from the pack? Like to makes you, because like you're honestly, you're part of the 1% in the world. What makes you part of the 1% that separates you from the 99%?
I think it's just mentality. What's your mentality? Like, I'll give you an example of someone, he's like an uncle of mine, right? He's like 70 years old, and this guy is like a multimillionaire, right? This guy does not know how to write a check, right? I'm not joking. Like, this guy can't write a check, doesn't speak great English. He's been in America for 40 years, and you take him with someone that was born in America, right? And you compare their net worth, this guy's like at 6-7 million, right? And when you look at him, it's like, all right, he's not educated. He dropped out in like 3rd grade, right? He doesn't have kind of the same resources as people did, same opportunities, but he's relentless, right? He's able to look at risks and identify the risk very well. He's able to be very disciplined in terms of, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it. When you look at a lot of kids today, they're fucking lazy, right? They're just not built to want it enough, right? So when you start comparing some of these people that are really, really successful, and you go into like immigrants, right? You start realizing like, hey, these guys didn't come out of Ivy League colleges. These guys didn't have the top-notch education. The only thing they have is themselves. So what is their mindset? What is their level of thinking, right? And their level of thinking could be that level of grit they have, right? Hey, I want this, and this is how I'm going to get it. And they relentlessly go at it. And obviously, going back to him, he had a lot of struggles and a lot of failures. But guess what? He showed up every day. Yeah. And going back to what you were saying before, he didn't settle. Right? Most people are like, oh, fuck, this didn't work. I'm going to settle. I'm going to go back to a job. Or I'm going to go back to this. He knows what he wants. He wakes up every single day saying, hey, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to go for. And, that relentless drive is pretty impressive. So I think being relentless towards what you want, not settling, having a very strong belief within yourself, but within a certain caliber, right? Don't overestimate yourself. Don't say, well, I'm too good to do this. I'm better than this. No, right? You have to have a level of belief that I can do it. I'm not where I want to be, but I know I can get there. I think you have to kind of stay as an open book in terms of continuously learning. Yeah. Right? You can't ever stop and say, well, I'm the best. I think the moment you stop and you say, I'm at the top, you lose. Like even for me, when I'm 23, 24, and I make X amount, people would come and tell me, oh, you're making this much, you won. And I'm like, yeah, in this environment, I won, not in that environment, right? So it's time for me to change environments, right? So it's like continuously, progressing. I think another problem a lot of kids have that they need to do is change their friends. If your friends are not aligned the same way in what you're trying to do and where you're trying to be, you need to get rid of them. Right. And sometimes friends hold you back. Right. If you are a kid that can't afford to go to a club, I'm just giving an example, go get a table. Yeah. Don't go. If your friends peer pressure you into it, they don't want the best for you. Yeah. Right. I remember when I was 18, 19, some people in my life at the time would be like, hey, let's go on vacation. Let's do this. Let's do that. And I was like, I'm not in the position to do that. They're like, oh, all you care about is money. I'm like, what do you mean all I care about is money? Like, I don't have any, I need to make some. So I can't go to a club. I can't go on vacation with you guys. Because me at 18, 19, the way I would look at it is if I go spend $150 on a dinner, I have to work 10 hours to make that. So I'm like, I'm not going to go and work 10 hours and spend it on a meal. Like, that's not going to happen. So at that point, I was like, I need to self-isolate and just kind of take a step back and work on myself, opposed to, getting caught up in what you guys want me to do. Yeah. Right. And just don't get peer pressured. Okay. Your friends are going to a club. All right. Let them go to a club. Play the 5-year game, play the 6-year game, let go of the fun they're having now. But if you stay focused on the 6 years at 18, 25, like you can do really well. And at 24, at 25, you'll be at a different area than they are. They're in the same area, stuck in the same place, playing the same game while you're at a different level. So you need to give up that short-term pleasure. You need to give up those short-term wins or whatever the case is, and just go for the long game.
Yeah. So what are your friends like now? Like, what do you look for in a friendship?
I mean, honestly, I really don't have that many friends. Like my 3 best friends are my sisters. Like I have a really good relationship with my sisters, and Emid. That's it. I'm being straight up.
Really?
Yeah. I don't really have. I don't really.
It's like, damn, the sisters.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't really have that much. There's Nomi. I'm friends with Nomi, like really cool with him. But outside of that, there's other people. You go into like Jalal from Miami, like a few other people, but like close friends that I talk to on a day-to-day basis are just those 3-4 people. That's
why
it.
Why do you think it's such a small circle?
We get along really well. We have a good understanding. It's also, I think, when you have a group of people around you, you don't ever want to feel like say for me and you have a conversation and I give you my advice, I never want to feel like you're going to take it the wrong way. Vice versa. I don't want you to feel like I'm coming from a bad place. But what happens in some situations is, let's say you and I are friends from high school, or you and I are childhood friends, and I tell you something and you take it the wrong way, you don't know my real intentions. And if you don't know my real intentions, I don't want you in my life, if that makes sense, right? Because a lot of people can't do that. Like if you go to people like, bro, you're just lazy. Who's this guy think he is? He thinks he's better than everyone. No, I'm telling you, you're just lazy. Like
it's sometimes it's as simple as that.
You're just lazy. You need to hear that. So I think just an environment of growth, environment of people that you get along with, that you trust, and that you can just kind of be yourself with. You don't have to fake it. You don't have to act like something else. You don't have to question things. Because after a certain point, things do become questionable. Like, hey, why is this guy why is he my friend? Right? Why is this guy, doing this for me or doing that for me? Whatever the case is. So it's like having, a close group of people in your life is very important. The right people. Yeah. You'd rather have less people than like a gajillion people that are not good people for you.
100%. Yeah. No,
and that comes from the idea of being alone, right? I think a lot of people have a hard time being alone, and that's like another problem with like the younger generation, if you want to call it, because they don't know how to be alone. They get caught up in bullshit relationships, and if you look at a majority of men and women, most of their time gets wasted in these nonsense relationships, right? You'll see 2 guys or two people, a guy and a girl in a relationship or whatever the case is, and we can see it so vividly. It's like, yo, you're so toxic. Why are you guys with one another? Yeah. All you guys are doing is fighting, dragging each other down, but they won't leave. They don't know how to be without each other. They don't know how to be alone. And next thing you know, they're like 29, 30. Finally, they break up, but they just wasted 10 years of their life where they could have been building and developing or whatever the case is. And if you look at a lot of people, guys and girls, that becomes their biggest downfall.
We've spoke about it. We've shot episodes on it, about dating in your 20s. That's a hot topic for us.
I think as a guy, until you have your shit together, I don't think you should. I just don't think you should like. It's great. People are like, oh, well, if you have a supportive woman and all that, yes, but that's really rare. Also, you're not developed. You don't know what you want. Like I see guys at 22 that want a relationship. They work, they get to a point of 25, 26. They're like, I don't want a relationship. They're a different person, which is understandable. But you need to go, in my opinion, you need to go through that stage of life on your own and like give yourself time to learn who you are, what do you like, what don't you like, and not let another person influence that. Because when you have a second person right next to you, at that early age, they can influence things in you that will just not be it. I remember I was like 18, 19, I was dating someone, and I was leaving college. And this person wasn't in, this person was a big advocate for college. And when I told him, like, I'm leaving college, like, this is so stupid. You're so dumb. You're going to fail at this. It's not going to work. Yeah. And, for most people, when you hear someone say that, that gets ingrained in your head. And you're like, oh, they're right. Right. But now they're just taking their belief system and putting it on you. But now when you're yourself, you can actually allow your belief system to operate on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, are you single right now?
You're like, what's the love life?
Single, man. Staying away. Staying away. Just focus on building. Really? I think it also becomes hard, like at a certain stage, just dating and having something. Because also it's like if I'm dating, I want it to be something serious, right? I don't want to just build and waste my time and things like that. So if I'm not doing that, I'm not going to date.
Have you ever met a girl that you were really vibing with? You know, because we all know. Like, and then you were like, but fuck, this is just the wrong time.
I don't know if I ever went to a point where I was like, it's the wrong time. I did go through a point where I was like, yeah, I really vibe with this person and so on. But I don't really think I thought about it as, oh, it's the wrong time. I did know that at a certain point, like my biggest priority was me building my life opposed to my love life, right? And a lot of people look at that, oh, he's so stupid. He doesn't understand the importance of life. No, like as a guy, if I don't have my shit together, my love life will fall apart. It's simple, right? If let's say I have the perfect love life and I don't have a job and I'm crumbling, I'm going to be depressed, I'm going to be unhappy. That's going to carry over to, you know, my significant other. So I feel like as a guy, your number one priority needs to be taking care of yourself, meaning your financial life. If you are good, go fuck around and do whatever you want, right? Go make mistakes, go do whatever you want, as long as that boat is good. But if that boat is not good, right, and every other boat is good, guess what? They're all gonna burn along the lines. And it's not about money. I know people go, oh, well, he's only making about money. But money is very important. Yep. I'm not talking making millions and millions of dollars, but I'm saying to a basic need level, as a guy, you do need money. And as a guy, that is what empowers you. Like as a woman, right, it's your beauty, right? Oh, I feel so great because I'm so beautiful or whatever the case is. For men, money does add that level of confidence. Right, you take a guy that's good looking or not good looking, and you give one or the other money. Whoever has more money naturally will feel more confidence, right? So as a guy, that's where it plays a big role, and also plays a big role for you to take care of yourself.
Yeah. It's amazing, bro. All right, well, I want to be respectful to our guy Yassine. Shout out Parker. You can't see the sign because that camera cut off. Look it up. Best credit card company for e-commerce brands. No, there's some savages. We're gonna have our boy Yassine on. Yassine's a sleeper. Yeah. He's got like 300 followers, bro. No one, we're about to blow him up. But no, but in all seriousness, man, like we really do appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you guys, man. You are to date our biggest guest.
Wow.
Yeah. So
interesting. Listen, you guys, I've seen some of your clips, and I think you guys have a really, really bright future ahead.
Hey,
we're gonna look back at this in a year from now, and I'll be the smallest guest. That's what it's gonna be. Yeah.
You're right about that.
Well, hopefully we'll do another one with you in Dubai.
Yeah, in Dubai. Yeah. Come
absolutely.
down. Listen, come down. You know, you guys are gonna have a great time. I'll show you around.
Bro. I know you're not looking for like too much friends, so we can mold as one.
No, there you go, man. There you go. Yeah, let's do it.
Shout out our guy Umar. Anything you want to plug at the end of the episode or? Tradezilla or
nothing. I'm good. Yeah.
All right, guys, an absolute savage. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.